Good evening, YouTubers, and welcome back in. David Artis here with another week of Astros Recap as the Astros have wrapped up 18 weeks in the regular season. Did very well once again. I am back in my regular spot real quick. It is 10:46 p.m., July 28th, 2019. Back in my room, my regular spot, so feeling good. Just a few things. Fan is blowing, so once again, when I re-listen to my podcast, sometimes I either hear the fan or I don't. So if you hear a noise in the background, that is the fan. By myself tonight, so you have to deal with me once again. Try to bring in guests here and there. Keegan Lassard early on, a few other co-workers maybe. But yeah, I guess I have to schedule these things well in advance. But anyway. So yes, 18 weeks have been wrapped up. They did very well once again, 4-2 this week. Of course, 5-2 the week prior, so they're playing very well. Won 9 of their last 11. I believe they're 9-2 in their last 11 games, which is very good. Astros really had one bad stretch all year when I think about it. They lost a series finale. This was more than a month ago, almost feels like. Against Toronto, they got absolutely crushed at home, and then they went on the road. They lost 3 to Cincinnati, got swept, and then went into New York and lost the first 3 of a 4-game set. So, all in all, it was a 7-game losing streak. In fact, prior to starting that losing streak, they were 48-23, just 25 games over 500, and the best that they had been all year. And they've worked themselves all the way back. They're now 68-39, 29 games over. So playing really good baseball of late. Not a lot to complain about. There are a few things that you can't talk about that aren't necessarily ideal, but for the most part, they've done a very good job. So they went 4-2, like I said, so they won both their series, 2 of 3 at home against the Oakland A's, and then going on the road and taking 2 of 3 in St. Louis, playing the Cardinals. So we are finally back to full health, getting Diaz back on Monday and Correa back on Friday. Corresponding moves. I'm trying to think if I want to talk about this now or just sort of as the week goes along here. I'm not, like I always say every week, I do not want to go game by game, and then I end up going game by game. It's one of those things where I don't know, that's how I felt at the time, I guess, or that's just how I sort of give you a recap of most of the players here. But anyway, so they win on Monday pretty easily. They blow them out, scoring a lot of runs early on, getting Diaz back. So the move there was, I believe it was Tyler White. I don't know if I brought that up last week, but Tyler White got designated for assignment. And so you have the 7 days to either release him, hope he clears waivers. Well, I don't think they hoped he cleared waivers. But you have 7 days to either release him or trade him. They actually got a relief. Is it a relief? Either a relief pitcher or a starting pitcher from the Dodgers. So the Dodgers, of all teams, picked him up, actually put him on their 25-man roster. Shocking. And they got Andre Scrub. Not sure if he's a relief or starting pitcher, but his numbers, or at least his ERA, wasn't bad. And they put him into Double-A Corpus Christi. So, I mean, getting anybody other than Tyler White, or just in exchange for Tyler White, I should say, is good. So, I mean, they did that. I think that was the corresponding big move for having Diaz coming back. So, I know Armenteros went down. Can't remember exactly, but that's what I got there. So Diaz did come back and was in the lineup Monday. He actually hit a home run along with, let's see here, I'll pull this up. So they won this game 11-1. And yes, Diaz hit his 6th. Gurriel, of course, hit a home run, and of course Jordan Alvarez. They put up 4 in the second, 7 in the third. So they're up 10-0 early on. So just ran away with it after that. I'm trying to think who actually pitched. Garrett Cole. Yeah, I mean, he put up 10 runs in the first 3 innings, and Garrett Cole's in the mound. You feel pretty good. So, of course, he got the win, 11-5, 3.03 ERA, and dropping, of course, as we've talked about there. So, easy game to get the week started. Tuesday, different story. We were leading most of the way, 2-0. Wade Miley was fantastic through 8 innings, and they actually brought him out for the 9th. He walked a batter, gave up a hit, and then Osuna came in and gave up a 3-run home run to Matt Olson. We did tie the game in the 9th, but ultimately did lose 4-3. I think McHugh gave up the go-ahead run in the 10th or 11th inning, and then we couldn't score. Some issues in this game. People on Twitter are just fans of baseball, I feel like. The Astros blamed A.J. Hinch for this, thinking that they left Wade Miley in too long. I mean, it was questionable, but I don't necessarily blame Hinch. I blame Roberto Osuna more than anybody for giving up the home run to, lose the lead. But bringing Miley out for the 9th, he was at upper 90s in pitches. He walked a hitter, so that's what I think a lot of fans have issue with. Probably should have took him out after the walk, but he gave up a hit, and then then AJ came out and got him. But I mean, A's are a good team. They win a lot of games, I feel like, in the late innings where they come back, and that's just sort of the pesky team that they've been, especially here in the second half. But they find ways, especially late in games, to make things tough. So losing that one was, well, whatever, you just move on. So afternoon game next day, getaway day, Wednesday, and they did win this one, so no issue bouncing right back. Of course, Justin Verlander pitched this game. They won it 4-2. He dropped the ERA all the way down to 2.86. The actual line, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, which is actually unearned, struck out 11 and walked 2, so he was great. Harris gave up a hit in his inning of work. Presley did the same. Osuna picked up the save but did allow a run. That's kind of been Osuna's forte of late. He gets the job done but doesn't make it easy. So that's kind of what Osuna, and he's been very shaky lately. Be tough to see him close out a 1-run game here, but it's going to have to happen at some point. Get these pitchers back. Bullpen's been, the people you rely on, and I'll get to more of that here Friday because they blew it again, but they didn't win the game. Wasn't going to complain. 4-2, off day Thursday, rolling to Friday. And as I speak here, I realize I am going game by game. But they lose on Friday after having a 2-0 lead. Brantley had a 2-run home run to put them on the board and take a lead. They did give up a run. God, who was it? So Jose Urquidy pitched this game. He pitched very well against Texas on Saturday. It's the start here on Friday. It was very good again. In fact, I remember going into this game, I was like, if Urquidy can get through 6, allow 3 runs, hopefully the offense will do enough to win. But he gave up 1 run in 6 innings. So that's 2 very impressive starts in a row. Who had Urquidy had 2 very subpar starts against Colorado and L.A. Angels of Anaheim there. And then he's bounced back, had 2 very good starts. So he's going to get another chance. He's, we talk about finally having a pitcher that actually does well after going through all these guys that just didn't get the job done. So Urquidy, as it stands now, will continue to get starts right there. So, and the trade deadline that's coming up on Wednesday, and I'll get into that. A lot of news broke today. But Urquidy, so he went 6 innings, so 1 run, so you get things set up usually the way you'd like with Harris, Presley, and Osuna. By the way, Presley didn't pitch at all during the homestand, dealing with a knee injury, but they're not putting him on the DL, which is smart. He being the best reliever we have. But, Yeah, and in fact, he didn't pitch. Well, he pitched on Friday here. I'll talk about in just a minute, and then didn't pitch yesterday or today. The off day tomorrow, so that'll be 3 rest days. I don't know exactly what the actual injury to it is, but they just haven't pitched him. They're trying to stay away from him as things stand now. Hopefully he'll be good to go for tomorrow, or I should say Tuesday. But so Will Harris came in. He actually allowed the tying run, gave up a home run to Matt Wieters to tie the game. So Urquidy's good effort kind of went by the wayside. So, I mean, yeah, Harris has also been shaky. The guys that I usually say ride or die with in the bullpen, so that's Harris, Presley, and Osuna, just haven't been locked down what they've been most of the year. But Presley came in. I believe he walked a hitter, gave up a double to Jose Martinez with push runners at second and third with nobody out. And then Paul Goldschmidt hit a 3-run home run to give them actually a 5-3 lead. Because after Harris gave up the tying run, they actually did take the lead. I think it was bases loaded walk by Michael Brantley. And then Presley proceeded to give that right back. So, and then some. I mean, they took the lead, 3-run shot. In fact, he didn't record an out. AJ came out and got him. ERA all the way up to 2.03, which, I mean, the ERA is over 2, which just we don't usually see that. Haven't seen it from Presley all year. Trying to pull up the box here for this game. And so Harris, who actually gave up a run, but ERA at 1.82, so he's currently got the lowest out of anybody in the bullpen. Devo did pitch he got the final 3 outs there in the 8th, and then they couldn't score, so they lost the game 5-3. Tough one to lose. Always tough late in games. Talk about that Tuesday Oakland game, the Osuna blowing it, and then this one. So, I mean, you go into Saturday thinking you need like a 4 or 5 run lead in those late innings to really feel like you can win the game. Luckily, they had big leads in these next 2 games. They win. So Friday, which I forgot to bring up before actually talking about the game, Carlos Correa came back, and they actually designated Tony Kemp for assignment. So all this time, and I even brought this up last week, I know for a fact, talked about Miles Straw being one of the people that would be sent back down to make room for Correa, which I don't necessarily agree with. I just felt like that was the fair decision, and I thought that's what Jeff Luna would go with. But no, he actually went Tony Kemp, which is the right decision. No, Tony Kemp's a fan favorite, good guy in the clubhouse, loved by all 24 other people in the roster. But, you know, to be fair, and I know people love the guy, he wasn't hitting that well. He's like 220, maybe 230. He had 7 home runs, so that was any home runs you get out of Tony Kemp's a bonus. But this was the right decision. So they have 7 days. In fact, the plan for him probably is to use him in a trade to bring in a starting pitcher. We'll see what happens, as Wednesday's the trade deadline. But 2 corresponding moves to make room for both Diaz and Correa was, I mean, you had to DFA both these people, Tyler White and Tony Kemp. Tyler White's done deal. He's with the Dodgers. We got a pitcher for him, and we'll see what happens in the coming days for Tony Kemp. No way he passes through waivers. No way. A team will definitely pick him up, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he does get traded for a starting pitcher. That's just going to be my guess as things stand, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. But we lose Friday, so Saturday they went 8-2 and Sunday 6-2. So good starts by both Garrett, Cole, and Miley. I mean, after you get to the 4th spot, they haven't had to use a 5th starter because of the off days. But when you get to the Cole, Miley, Verlander sort of trifecta there in the rotation, really feel really good about your chances. Carlos Correa, who had an offer on Friday, hit a grand slam Saturday. The Astros, I think those are their 10th grand slam, which is like a ton more than the second place team. He actually drove in 5 runs. So he had a good Saturday. He was 0 for today. So that's kind of where Correa is. Back in the lineup. Looks fine. Alvarez, who didn't play both Friday or Saturday, hit a home run today. That's kind of what he does, along with Gurriel. I didn't see a lot of home runs, but he definitely had some hits in the series. His ERA, or his average, is actually over 300 now, so he's probably going to win Player of the Month for the month of July. Alvarez could once again win Rookie of the Month. Garrett Cole could be in line for AL Pitcher of the Month, so there's a lot of good things happening for us here in July when it comes to players. But anyway, so today, George Springer hit a leadoff home run. Also, home runs by both Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve. So, hitting home runs, scoring runs, that's never going to be an issue for the Astros. Was a big issue last year. They, especially at home, had trouble scoring. But this year haven't really had to deal with that at all. There was that first series against Tampa Bay way back in late March. But, I mean, they'll have games where they get shut out or score 1 or 2 runs. But that happens to all teams. So, for the most part, they've done a very good job when it comes to scoring. And the lineup just gets better with all the people that have come back. We're basically at full health. I mean, you have Josh James on the IL. Brad Peacock has now been on the IL for quite a long time, and haven't heard any news on his whereabouts or when he's actually coming back. Josh James, don't know if I just said him. So yeah, Josh James on the IL. Cy Snead, by the way, has been called up. So talked about Josh James last Sunday, not knowing. Yeah, I talked about I didn't really watch the game, but the velocity dropped. So he was put on the IL. So Cy Snead called up for that. He deserved to be up here. So all good there. But that wraps up the week. Trade deadline on Wednesday. A lot of things have been happening. And I could have done more, a trade deadline sort of special show. But I think I'll just get on Wednesday after all deals are made and go from there. Because everything that I talk about would be speculation when it comes to Astros, who they could possibly get, who I'd want them to get, or who I see other players going for the contenders and the teams that are buyers and sellers. I could just go back and forth, but all of it's speculation. So I just want to wait till it's all done, and then I'll get to it then. I will say that Noah Syndergaard's been a guy that I learned about early in the week who's, the Mets are actually trying to move. And I think the Astros, he would be perfect to actually fit in to our 3-spot rotation. Because we need to add a starter. I mean, you got 3 very solid starters. Verlander, Cole can match up with anybody's 1 and 2. And then Miley, very quietly. He pitched today. ERA is all the way down to 3.03, I believe. Let's see if I can pull this up. 3.06. And by the way, Cole on Saturday moved his ERA down to 2.94. And Verlander, who will get the start Tuesday, 2.86. So very good ERAs there. Trying to see who pitched. Just backtracking real quick here. So McHugh gave up a run. ERA 5.19. Again, he's still just trying to get the ERA. Most of that's from his starts. And he pitches here and there out of the bullpen. Rondon pitched a scoreless inning. 1-2-3, I believe. Wait, no. I think he put a runner on. I could be wrong. I don't know. He struck out a batter. 4.31 for him. And Devo actually pitched the last 2 innings. He allowed an earned run. I think it was a Dexter Fowler home run. Gave up 2 hits, 4.50. Devo's really there to get lefties out. That's his sort of specialty. But even the bullpen could definitely use an arm. So Noah Syndergaard, Marcus Stroman, another guy that was out there, actually got picked up today by the New York Mets, of all teams. That's a big shocker. Just because the Mets are like 5 games out of the National League wildcard spot, and they have to jump over like 5 teams to actually get there. So trading for Marcus Stroman was sort of a head scratcher. And I heard for Noah Syndergaard, who they're trying to get rid of, they're looking for major league ready talent. So the Astros would not be interested in giving them anybody really on their 25-man roster right now as it stands for Noah Syndergaard. So that could actually take them out of the running to get Syndergaard there. Another guy, Matthew Boyd of the Detroit Tigers, was a guy who I actually initially was looking at that I thought would be a good fit, left-handed starter there. But apparently they're asking for a ton. So 3 prospects that are sort of on the cusp that they could let go of 1 or maybe 2 if it's the perfect deal when it comes to Kyle Tucker, Forrest Whitley, J.B. Bukauskas on the list there. Those are the 3 top prospects, it looks like. And I'm okay with parting with 1, 2 if the right deal came along. For instance, if they could find a way to do the deal with Syndergaard and get like Edwin Diaz, which is their all-star. I love this closer for New York. I'd actually be willing to part ways with 2 of them, Tucker and probably Bukauskas for that. Try to keep Whitley. I think Whitley still has the most value of any of those 3, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the Mets said they want major league talent, so they're going to look to make a run. And it'll be shocking to see them actually, I don't see them making the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see who they get, but they're going to have a 2-month stretch to play really amazing baseball, jump 5 teams, and get into that second wild card to have a chance just to actually move in to the division series. They're not winning their division. I mean, Atlanta, I think, is going to win that pretty easily. Washington's played better baseball, but the Mets, who've really underachieved all year, I just don't see them. I don't know. It's weird, but that's what they're looking at so far. Initially, when they got Marcus Stroman today, I thought it'd be sort of a situation where they get him and then trade him quickly after, trying to sweeten a deal to get more prospects, which is what they really need to do. Need to build their farm system back up. In fact, I was thinking about this to myself earlier today. I was like, most teams, would you rather break it down, build it back up, having basically an embarrassment of a franchise for, the 3 to 4 years, kind of like we did it, or would you rather be a team that, just sort of makes deals for players and stays above water but never really gets to the top? We broke our team down and we did win a World Series in 2017. So it depends, really. I mean, you're going to lose your fan base if you take our route, and it's going to be tough and it's going to be a struggle. But we did get to the ultimate goal, which was winning a World Series. Other teams that never really like to rebuild fully, like the Pirates last year is a prime example of what it looks like the Mets are doing this year. The Pirates last year made a trade for Chris Archer, and now it's a stupid trade as we look at it now. The Pirates did not make the playoffs last year, thought they had a chance. And the Nationals did the same thing without trading Harper last year. They didn't want to trade Harper, thought they had a chance, and then they lost him for nothing, and they didn't make the playoffs. And the Pirates gave up to Tampa Bay to get Archer, both Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow, who are both very good. No Glasnow's hurt right now. Tyler Glasnow, that is, for the Tampa Bay Rays. But it's just interesting on how teams decide to run business when it comes to whether they're buyers or sellers, whether they have a chance, and then the corresponding moves that go along with that. So, again, all this I'm talking about speculation. At this point, I'm thinking Matthew Boyd's going to be the route just because Syndergaard, the news today, did not look favorable for the Astros. So we'll wait and see. I'll actually talk to you Wednesday to give you a full recap. I feel like the Astros will be making some move for somebody. Also, when it comes to bullpen, a lefty reliever would be nice. There's been talk about Felipe Vasquez on Pittsburgh, who's pitched very well. That would fit pretty well into our bullpen to get lefties out. I know Devo's in that role, but again, Devo's ERA has been fours, fives all year. So he's actually pitched better of late. But again, we haven't had a lefty in the bullpen all year. It would be nice to add one. So, and Felipe Vasquez's numbers are pretty good this year, as far as I know. So Matthew Boyd, Noah Syndergaard are the two big starters that the Astros will be trying to get the most. And then we'll see what goes along with that. Of course, perfect world, we'd have a starter and a quality reliever. But we'll wait and see. Offense, they in no way, no how will be looking at any hitters. The offense is pretty stacked when you're at full health and you have Springer, Altuve, Bregman, Brantley, Correa, Alvarez, Gurriel, Reddick. I mean, you got Reddick and Chirinos batting 8 and 9 in a perfect lineup. So, yeah, they're fine there. Rolling up here on 26, 27 minutes. So, the Astros, the Yankees actually lost 3 or 4 over the weekend. The division lead is all the way back up to 8, so they're good in that regard. I believe they're a half game back. They're actually tied with the Yankees. They played 2 more games. We're both 29 games over 500. They have us in percentage points by just a few there. Minnesota's kind of just playing 500 baseball, 64 and 41, so they've kind of fallen back. So we have a three game lead, I believe, with them. And then LA Dodgers is like head and shoulders above everybody in the AL. 69 and 38. They have the best record of anybody. But the goal for us this year is to get to 100 wins and try to have the best record in all the American League, to have home field advantage throughout. But playing good baseball. Hopefully good things continue to happen. They have an off day tomorrow. They play 3 with Cleveland, and they come back home and play Seattle. Schedule is pretty easy, I should say. Or, there's not a lot of scary teams out there, I feel like, for the majority of the year. Cleveland's going to be one of the toughest 3-game sets here. So they played good. They lost today. They've done okay. I think they lost 2 or 3 to the Royals over the weekend. So wait and see. Even they have Trevor Bauer, who's been a guy that I would be shocked if the Astros actually made a run at him, just because sort of the feud with Garrett Cole, and just I don't see it happening whatsoever. In fact, the Indians are competing, so it'll be interesting to see on Wednesday. I'll be, I'll have my iPad going with MLB Network, and I'll have ESPN on the regular TV, and I'll be watching all these shows and keeping up to date. So I do plan to talk to you late Wednesday afternoon, probably before the game, and give you a breakdown on trades around Major League Baseball, who people got. Hopefully the Astros will be one of those teams that made some moves, but we'll just wait and see. The team the way it is right now isn't terrible. I just feel like when you're playing the Yankees or the Indians or Minnesota, whoever it might be in the playoffs, it's not easy. You need people that can get key outs in the bullpen. You need basically 4 starters. We have 2 very good ones. Cole actually didn't perform that well in the playoffs. Even Verlander, for that matter, last year didn't perform that well in the playoffs. So, and we'll see what Miley does. But yeah, after those 3, it's really a toss-up, in our rotation. So, I'm coming up in 30 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap things up there. Please like, subscribe to my channel, please. Share with your friends. Do all that good stuff there on YouTube. But also love to hear the comments, so please leave comments. I will get to them. I can promise you that. If you agree, disagree, have any other input, always open for feedback. So please do all that good stuff on YouTube. I'll talk to you this Wednesday after the trade deadline, so be looking for my video. And if you subscribe, you'll get them as they are posted. So anyway, I'll wrap things up there, and we'll talk to you next week, and we'll see you then.